She gets hungry for dinner at 8. She loves the theater and never comes late. She never bothers with people she hates. That's why the lady is a tramp.
Hello, everybody. This is your old pal Double T, welcoming everybody into the Double T Podcast Network. Today, I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about a story that I've been following for about 3 months now, and it's an absolutely fascinating story to me. It has all the ingredients of a sleazy movie with all the things that we are watching on a national level. And forget politics, folks. This is not a Republican or a Democratic story. This is about American politics, Chicago politics in particular, and this will soon be a national story. Our story begins in a small suburban town nestled deep in the heartland of southern Illinois. And we're going to a small town called Dalton, Illinois. The town of Dalton is a very poor Chicago town with about 25,000 residents, and the median income is below poverty level. People work very hard, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs, to put food on their tables, but these people are salt of the earth people, and 90% of the residents of Dalton are Black. These people want their government to represent them and handle their tax monies in a responsible manner. Next to Dalton is the township of Thornton. Now, the township of Thornton is a little bit bigger because it consists of a group of about 17 small villages and unincorporated areas that offer, go under the guise of the township of Thornton. Thornton consists of about 158,000 people, and these are the 2 areas that we're going to focus in on. Now, you're probably wondering what the point of these 2 areas or what they have in common. So let me introduce to you Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor, as she likes to call herself, Super Mayor A Henyard. For the sake of this podcast, we're going to refer to her as Tahoe Tiffany, and you'll see why in a little while. Prior to being elected mayor, Tahoe Tiffany was a trustee for 2 terms in the town of Dalton, a single woman of color at 39 years old. You would have to admire her for her quick rise to becoming mayor. The pay for mayor of Dalton is about $50,000, which is really not bad for representing 25,000 people, where the median income is half of that much. You're wondering what the connection of Thornton is to Dalton. Well, Thornton was under the leadership of a man named Frank Zuccarelli, and Zuccarelli was Tahoe's mentor. Frank Zuccarelli passed away while in office and somehow maneuvered Tiffany to become township supervisor at a rate of $125,000. So now this marvelous woman is managing 175,000 people, and she's making close to $200,000. She has an opportunity to make an imprint, and if she does a good job, the sky is the limit for her. She could become a state senator. She could become a state representative. She can become a senator, a governor. But the sky is the limit for Tahoe Tiffany. Who knows? But think about the example that this woman can set for Black women, and especially to her own daughter. Look at the opportunity that she has in front of her. But as we dig a little bit deeper, we're going to find that this is at the center of one of the most politically corrupt scandals in U.S. history. Yes, we're talking about Tahoe Tiffany and Chicago politics. So the first question you might ask is, how did one person that is responsible to two boards of trustees get in trouble like this? Since the election of Tiffany to Dalton Mayor in 2021, Super Mayor, as she likes to be called, has used the coffers of Dalton and then Thornton as her personal piggy bank, surrounding herself with loyalists and isolating everybody else. She's isolated the Board of Trustees, making sure that her people are now trustees. Her cronies get positions of power. So anything she wants accomplished gets accomplished. She has surrounded herself with yes men and hanger-oners. You know, the people that left to be there for the party. But what happens when the money runs out? Well, there ain't no more party. And as we come to find out, as I have been watching this for months, I have seen some great work done by a couple of YouTubers, one named O'Shea Duke Jackson from Uganda, and another one that I want to throw some props out to is Jedediah Brown. They have done some magnificent work on this story. And with all the research that I have done on top of this, it's become even more fascinating. The first thing that Tahoe did was she took over the police department, and she made the police department into her personal security detail by using 4 to 6 officers to chauffeur her around and run her errands for her, which has racked up hundreds of thousands of dollars in overtime. In one instance, in one 2-week pay period, one officer was paid for 340 hours, which is really odd because there's only 336 hours in 2 weeks. She leased a brand new Chevy Tahoe, there you go, Tahoe Tiffany, to be chauffeured around in at $150,000. So to buy that Tahoe new, we looked at the paperwork. To buy the Tahoe new would have been about $99,000, and the cost of the lease is $50,000. It's just absolutely staggering. Now, what some people might not realize is smaller municipalities might not have money in the town coffers in their general fund to just go out and pay cash for city vehicles. So in a lot of instances, they lease them. So what Tahoe did was, considering that the town was already leasing a few police cars, she added this one onto their lease. So they were leasing 7 vehicles from one dealership, and they are now all in repossession. All 7 of them. Hers was fully loaded too. It's just amazing that she can be so full of herself. Now, Jason House, a trustee in Dalton, told Fox 32 Chicago that payments for these vehicles had been approved by the trustees months ago, but had not been paid. The trustees have to have, the good trustees, I should say, have to have things that they call secret squirrel meetings. That's what Tiffany calls them, when they meet without the mayor present in order to get anything done. The problem is the mayor will not give them any paperwork, receipts, bills, anything. She took the trustees' names off the checking accounts and put hers on. One check was for $225,000 that she cashed. She also approached a gentleman that owned a check cashing store in town and coerced him into cashing checks for her, or else they were going to put him out of business. So he did, and there was one check that the mayor cashed for $500,000. Now, these are dual signature checks that only the mayor was signing. She also started a charity called Tiffany Henyard Cares Cancer Project. Now, this girl has an amazing social media presence. She's constantly out filming herself, doing things with her constituents, having marches, parades, events for the children, for the seniors. This is how she keeps herself popular and how she keeps her supporters, because they don't really realize what's going on behind the scenes. There's really only a group of about maybe 200 or 300 people in the whole town that show up at these meetings to complain. But nothing's happening so far. Funny thing about the Tiffany Cancer Charity is two things. One is the cancer was initially funded by a $10,000 check written out by the township of Thornton, which I do believe is an illegal thing to do. The second thing is Tiffany spent $17,000 on hoodies to hand out along this parade march that they had to raise money. She handed out, I don't know if she handed out all 17,000, but she ordered 17,000 hoodies. Can you imagine that? Which, guess what? The bill wasn't paid. She doesn't renew business licenses for business owners that don't contribute or support to her. And one gentleman who owns a U-Haul dealership went to the FBI. And we're going to get back to him in a little while. Keep that in your head. Now, Tiffany's right-hand man, Keith Freeman, is the named trustee on the cancer charity. So you know that she's going to say, I don't know anything about this. It's not me. And in an interview with Roland Martin, that's exactly what she said when he asked her about the cancer charity. She says, I don't know. That's not me. It's not my name. If people want to raise money for cancer and help people and use my name, I don't have any problem with that. And she actually thinks she's going to get away with it, which is funny because she just flat out lied to Roland Martin. Tiffany is just such a snap compulsive liar that you can believe. And she lies with such ease and you just know she's a player. Now, her right-hand man, Keith Freeman, just last week got indicted for personal bankruptcy fraud because he forgot to list one of his jobs in Thornton that pays $100,000. Now, these are the things that slip your mind when you're filing personal bankruptcy. By the way, Keith, that is federal, and you, of course, my friend, will look good in orange. Now we look at Tiffany's top goon, police chief of security, Louis Lacey. With a little gesture from Tiffany, Chief Lacey will shut a trustee meeting down, citing credible threats. He even followed Jedediah Brown, who I referred to earlier, with 4 other police cruisers in a different jurisdiction just to intimidate him, and then later filed a restraining order against him. If you are an enemy of this mayor, you best be careful. This man, Louis Lacey, is like a puppet on a string. He has no business being chief of police anywhere. I don't think I would make him a safety patrol, to be quite honest with you. Next, we're going to discuss the travel of Tyler Tiff and her gang of renowns. They took some trips out of state, going to conferences to try to source business for the township and for Dalton. And Everybody had first-class airfare and accommodations, and the credit card receipts for the dinners were exorbitant. Anybody can live the high life when they're on the government T. One of these trips was to Las Vegas, and the reason why I single out this incident is because one of the trustees that was on the trip was Andrew Holmes. So the group on the last night that they were there all went out to dinner together. One of the girls that was there was Tiffany Henyard's assistant. So everybody was out, and it happened to be the assistant's birthday. So she asked everybody if they would like to go out afterwards because she was in the mood to party. And nobody really wanted to go out, so the only one that did was Andrew Holmes. Now, her relationship with Andrew Holmes was like uncle and niece. She's known him for a long time. She's been in the car with him many times. She's been alone with him many times. He's never made any kind of advance towards her. She trusted him, so she says, well, at least I can go out and have a good time, and I don't have to worry about getting home. So they went out. They were having a few drinks. She remembers not feeling that well, and the next thing she remembered was waking up in the morning, hearing her cell phone ring, realizing she was in Mr. Holmes's. Back up a little bit. That night, Mr. Holmes called the officer that was on security detail for Superman. And Mr. Holmes was a bit drunk also. And he told the officer that he had this woman in his room, and he told him what had happened. And the officer immediately disconnected the call and turned the call into a FaceTime call, which he recorded. Holmes was bragging that he had unprotected sex with the girl, and actually went over to the bed and showed him her scantily clad body, and even started lifting covers off of her to show her private parts. At that point, the officer disconnected the call. The officer then went to Henyard. Henyard told the officer that she would handle it to keep his mouth shut. Fast forward to the girl answering her phone and saying she wasn't sure what had happened. Holmes said that she just told her that she had too much to drink and he couldn't find the room keys, so he put her in the bed just so she, would be safe. And feeling a little bit funny down there, she said, oh, I'm getting my period, So it looks like, he got away with one. And coincidentally, her wallet with her room key, her credit cards, and licenses was found at lost and found that morning, right around the time she woke up. So, Superman decided nothing was going to happen while they were in Las Vegas. She was going to wait till they got back home, and then she was going to sit her down, and she was going to talk to her about what happened. Well, that's what she did. They got home. She sat her down. She told her what happened. And the girl was infuriated. But Henyard explained to her that if this got out in public, it would ruin all the good work that she had done. And she didn't want that to happen. And she begged her to let her handle this herself in her own way. And the girl agreed. I don't know how she made that argument. Tiffany was a smooth talker. The officer was brought in, you know, okay, thank you for keeping your silence. And when he got back to work, he was demoted from detective to patrol. And the girl was placed on administrative leave, unpaid, and then subsequently fired. And that is how Miss Tiffany handled the rape of a young woman by a sexual predator. And nothing happened. And for hold up. Yes. So now the victim has spoken out. The victim has filed suit against Holmes, the township, and Henyard. And the detective has filed suit against Holmes, the township, and Henyard. And now the story is out in the open. And still Holmes has not been dismissed as a trustee. But the citizens are calling for it. They're protesting. It's crazy. If you go on YouTube and watch these townships, it's absolutely crazy. They even hired former, the good part of the board, hired former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. I mean, she was a nightmare of a mayor, but she was a good federal prosecutor before she was mayor. And they hired her to investigate the corruption in the mayor's office. Okay. Now, just a couple more things. Let's talk about Tahoe's entrepreneurial endeavors before she went into politics. She had, before she came there, a little restaurant on South Suburban College's campus called Good Burger. Now, I don't know how she got away with that, because I would have imagined that would have been copyrighted, but she didn't. And over the course of a couple of years, she never paid her bills, never paid her rent, cited numerous times for health violations, up until the point that they shut her down. So there's strike one. While she was a trustee, she applied for a mortgage to buy a Section 8 house. And your responsibility as a mortgage holder for a Section 8 house is to make sure that the house is habitable and to be a landlord. He went in and slapped some paint on the ceilings and the walls, and Tiffany was in business. Shortly, and don't forget, the rent is guaranteed. The government is sending you the rent every first of the month. It's guaranteed. So all you have to do is maintain the property. Shortly thereafter, the mold started coming through the paint, and the house was deemed uninhabitable. So Tiffany had somebody come in and slap some kills on it, slap some more paint on it, and the problem was gone. But this, see, by now, the code enforcement inspector and all the people that were in positions of power were in Tiffany's pocket, so she was going to get anything that she wanted. So I want to say, she never paid more on that house. Over a couple of years, she took in $46,000 in rental money and walked away without paying a dime. So there's strike two. So she's not going to have time for strike three, because I think we've established the character of Tahoe Tiff. And remember I told you about the U-Haul guy, the guy that owned the U-Haul store that went to the FBI? Well, lo and behold, the townships and the villages have been screaming for help. Like I said, they hired Lori Lightfoot. And all of a sudden, 2 Fridays ago, the FBI came knocking on the door of Thornton Township and started serving subpoenas. And then the following Monday, they went to Thornton Township and did the same. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes them to knock her off her pedestal, get her into court, pass to jail. Even the Corporation Council for the Township and Dalton has sent a letter withdrawing from presenting them in the 30 litigations that they have pending because they're not paying the bill. And they're coming dangerously close to being uninsurable. So I'm thinking that, the state might have to come in and post the bond. Tiffany and Keith Freeman, Andrew Walls, Louis Lacey, and all of the hanger-oners, they're gonna be in orange jumpsuits pretty soon. Folks, when you take an office, you vouch to uphold the public trust. You're sworn to that, and the public trust comes before anything. No matter how tempting it is, you have to remain above reproach. This is why people don't have faith in government, because there are too many crooks involved in politics. It's worse on a national level because every once in a while, it's just worse on a national level because they're just bigger crooks. But to see the damage that one person can do to two small entities that are in poverty to begin with, and how she can set this kind of an example for her daughter, beyond me, way beyond. But I will give you updates on Tiff and where she is, as I know what's going on. But I thought this was interesting just to see how one woman is driven in the wrong direction. And to think for a second, you always hear like, you use your powers for good. And this is a classic example. I mean, if this woman used her brain for good rather than evil, she would be a champion for black women all across the country, and the sky would have been the limit for her. Instead, she chose the thug life. I don't know. Maybe that's all she knows. I mean, when you walk into one of your trustee meetings, dressed up as Nino Brown from New Jack City, holding a fake dog in your hand, I mean, what more do you want me to say? What more can you say? But folks, all I would like to say at this point is it's very good to be back. And please, as I can't ask you enough, please like my channel, subscribe to my channel, and share these videos, because that's the thing that will make these channels grow and will give us the opportunities to get bigger guests and hopefully become a bigger entity ourselves. So please like, subscribe, and share. We ask you, please. Folks, I keep telling you, tomorrow is guaranteed to no one. So if you have a chance to stop and smell the roses, please do so. And if you have the opportunity to do a random act of kindness for someone, please take that opportunity. Because if you do a random act of kindness for somebody, the world would be a much better place to live. So until we meet again, this is Double T saying ciao.
Memories pressed between the pages of my mind. Memories sweeten through the ages just like wine. Quiet thoughts come floating down and settle softly to the ground like golden autumn leaves around my feet. I touch them and they burst apart with sweet memories. Sweet memories of holding hands and red bouquets and twilights trimmed laughing eyes and simple ways, quiet nights and gentle days.